a reporter from CNN and his little camera crew got in to Osama bin Laden's secret hideout and conducted an interview. If you don't believe me, tune into CNN. They're probably running it right now as I'm speaking. And if you believe it, you are one of the stupidest jerks that ever lived on the face of this earth. And whatever is going to happen that they're going to blame on Osama bin Laden, don't you even believe it. Another socialusion, social engineering project to change the minds and the attitudes and the beliefs of the people of the world, and especially the United States, to bring about one world socialist totalitarian government.
And no, of course, that's not Alex Jones. That is the legend, the inimitable Bill Cooper, the man on whom Alex Jones was modelled, the man who came before Alex Jones, and the man there whom you heard in advance of 9/11 warning people that something wicked this way was coming and it would be blamed on Osama bin Laden. Well, Bill Cooper was the real deal. Alex Jones is not. But we're here to discuss the downfall, the controlled demolition, actually, of Alex Jones. And it starts with what I told him when he interviewed me on his radio show in May 2004. Why was he interviewing me in May 2004? Well, because I'd published this, for starters, just 11 weeks after that warning from Bill Cooper on the 4th of October 2001, 3 weeks after the attacks. I published what became a legendary article which went around the internet and made my reputation, raising some of the key issues about 9/11 for the first time. An article which went viral. But that put me on the map. However, what Alex Jones wanted to talk to me about was this. This is Nick Berg. Nick Berg, if you recall, was a contractor in Iraq. He was a wireless communications engineer, and he was detained by Iraqi police, and he was released by them. He disappeared, and he subsequently was found, his headless body and then his head, in a suburb of Baghdad. And this video was put out on the internet. And Alex Jones wanted to talk to me about this. Because why? Because I had an exclusive on that story, which is the biggest story in the United States at the time. I had information that the reason he might have been detained by the Iraqi police was that his father and firm were on an enemies list on a Republican website, freerepublic.com. And that story put me onto KABC in Los Angeles earlier on that day, before speaking with Alex Jones, and then live with Alex Jones on InfoWars to talk about those issues. But I was back a while later to talk about something else, to talk about the anomalies in that. There were 50, and we listed them here, 50 anomalies found by researchers around the internet about this video, and they ranged from the fact that the hands of the so-called Arabs were actually lily white, that a gold watch and a ring was visible on some others, that their accents did not match, that the tape didn't work right, the dubbing was wrong, the sound was desynchronized, the guys reading out the stuff that they were reading out didn't seem to be properly synchronized with the... On and on it went. All of these anomalies in the tape. And as I say, I had a story about that, and because of the previous appearance, I was back on again to speak to Alex Jones about that issue of this tape, which was now going around and around. It was, everybody was watching this thing because it was a huge story, and it seemed to be a faked video. Furthermore, in a truly bizarre twist, the kind of chair that Nick Berg was seen sitting in, which was released in one of the photos, was the same kind of chair that was in Abu Ghraib in some of the photos released from the from what was going on inside Abu Ghraib. This was truly becoming bizarre. And of course, Alex Jones, because we were leading this story, wanted me on. Presumably we were going to talk about, who did they think they were fooling? Presumably we were going to say, this is a fake video, surely. Presumably that was the way it was going to go, but that's not the way it went. Because that's not what I said to Alex Jones. What I said to Alex Jones was that we were being played for fools. What was going on was that they were playing mind games on us. That's what I told him. I said that they had put in those deliberate mistakes, so many of them, and used that as a lure to get us to watch what was psychologically traumatizing material. They were way ahead of us, folks. That's what I said. We were thinking we were going to watch stuff and expose this and expose that on our alternative internet. And instead, they had come up with a way of luring us into thinking we'll make any difference to the mainstream, who were going to pay no attention to us anyway, no matter what the anomalies were that was in this video. So we were wasting our time. And what we were doing was that a lot of left-wing people who were similar to Nick Berg were watching the beheading of someone just like them. This was a psychological warfare weapon and attack on leftist anti-war types in the United States and people in general, of course, but specifically at them. And the whole thing was a con job. Now, the implications of that are huge. Obviously, they're not something that Alex Jones ran with. Otherwise, we wouldn't be where we are today. Because what I was saying was that there was a deep level of psychological manipulation being built into the material that we thought is exposing this or exposing that or exposing the other. That we were being saps. They were using our interest in these issues to feed us what in this case? Well, outright psychological terror in this case, because there's a war on, and they were using psychological warfare tactics in the middle of a war. So rather than facilitating all this, Alex Jones should have been decrying it all, exposing it, explaining the true nature of what we were dealing with and the sophistication of the psychological operations being directed at us. But of course, he didn't. Of course not. Because you don't just need the psychological traumatizing material, you need a network of websites to spread it all around. You need the network of radio shows and websites and video shows to send it all around, whatever the material happens to be that you're currently pushing. And that's what they were doing with this. That's what I told Jones. That's what is the deep story of this. And of course your diet of news comes with wrappers of FUD, fear, uncertainty and doubt. Intimidation wrapped into the story, overblowing the nature of our enemy and making it seem far more powerful than it is, for example, is part of it. Relentlessly focusing on security issues, on fear issues. This is another part of the agenda. Or if in relation to its use, for example, with Q, in order to induce you to just sit back and enjoy the show. The message being there, of course, don't participate. Don't get off your ass. Or the message about the white hats. That it's all been taken care of. The white hats have already won, in fact. The white hats are already in charge. It'll just take a little time to play out once we can all get our hands on Leo Wanta's Japanese World War II gold, or whatever the current version of the scams being promoted out through this network are. Junk. If you're thinking to yourself that the internet is full of vast amounts of absolute rubbish, it's not accidental. There has to be a way of containing things on the internet, and it works like mainstream, that what mainstream talks about is what the New York Times talks about, and what the Washington Post talks about, and what the LA Times and what the Times of London and what Die Zeit talks about in Germany, and they control the agenda. Similarly, on the internet, this is the value of the sites that distribute. This is the value of Alex Jones and others like that. The other absolutely intrinsic value they have to our enemy is to tabloidize the whole issue, rather than discussing it in a calm, methodical, grounded and reasonable way, as you heard Bill Cooper there. It's bombastic, it's over the top, it's cartoonish, and the individual who is being constructed as a representative of conspiracy theorism, Alex Jones, for example, in the United States, or David Icke, who's constructed for the UK market, is designed to be inherently unlikable. And that, of course, plays great benefits when it comes for time to quelch free speech, because when it was time to do so in the United States, Alex Jones, being so unlikable, was a suitable individual to be the first one to be picked on. That's the reward they get for the investment in Jones, along with all the other benefits along the way, is the ability to then deploy public sentiment against you by making everybody think that you're somebody like Alex Jones. That when anybody questions anything mainstream, it's inherently must be that over the top. Oh, you're not saying what he's saying, are you? This is tremendously valuable. This is how gatekeeping is done. This is how boundaries are created. And this bombastic nature of Alex Jones perfectly suits where they're headed with this, to raise the emotional temperature and get you reacting then emotionally as much as possible, and not reasonably, not logically, but reacting emotionally, just like you see in this picture. This is all about emotions, raw, naked emotion. That's what they want. Currently, Jones and his handlers are engaged in another psychological operation called the Sandy Hook lawsuit. And the purpose of this, as with the original allegations by Alex Jones and others about fakery, actors, etc., are designed to give conspiracy theory a really bad name, a really sick name in the eyes of many people, and they've succeeded in doing so. And just to capitalize on that, and also for a very important reason, we have the legal case. You should know, of course, perhaps you don't, that Alex Jones's defense team actually emailed all of the confidential documents in their possession, the defense team's possession, to the prosecution, accidentally, just to make sure Alex Jones would lose that case. When you email all the necessary evidence to the prosecution, the people who are suing you, you don't really stand much chance, do you? No, that is a deliberate fall, and the damage will not be $45 million. It'll in the end be a few $1 million, $5 million or something like that. And the company involved will be liquidated, and who knows what will happen with the Jones enterprise. Because you see, there's a change coming about at maybe in November sometime, as you may have heard me speak about before. And when that change happens, then a whole load of people who have been on the outs are going to suddenly be on the in. And that means that people like Alex Jones and the opinions which he represents and others represent, and the opinions which people on the right of the political spectrum have, suddenly have the potential for more power because they're moving into the political apparatus. Many people might feel, for example, that there will be time to ask if there was control of the House and the Senate in the United States for proper investigations into 9/11 and other issues. But they're moving to head that off, and they're using Alex Jones again for the next phase of clampdown on the likes of Alex Jones, spreading the likes of Sandy Hook misinformation. He's being used now as a battering ram. So they're going to coat Alex Jones in cement, and they are going to use that cement, Alex Jones, to beat your free speech to death. And nobody's going to care because they hate Alex Jones. Those are the kinds of games that are being played. And I left this picture up all the time because I want you to see that at the end of the day, they were prepared to murder Nick Berg in order to stage this video, in order to distribute it out through Alex Jones's network and other networks to screw around with your head. These are ruthless people, and they are prepared to murder. Of course, they also came for Bill Cooper. They're going to kill me, ladies and gentlemen, he said in one of his final broadcasts. They're going to come up here in the middle of the night and shoot me dead right on my doorstep. And indeed, that's exactly what happened. On the 5th of November 2001, he died in an ambush and died on his own doorstep attempting to get back into his home. You see, there wasn't room for a real man of the people speaking truth like William Cooper and a fake, constructed imitation, a pale imitation in the shape of Alex Jones. So in order for Alex Jones to continue to rise, Bill Cooper had to be killed. That's the price of Alex Jones. That's the price. Bill Cooper died so they could use Jones to try and fool you. Hell of a price. And we owe Bill Cooper a great deal. What a guy. That article, myself and Cathy McMahon, published on the 4th of October 2001, well, around about the same time as they shot Bill Cooper, we took that off the internet. Not before telling scores of websites around the world to back it up, which they did, but for reasons of prudence. These were dangerous times to be at the leading edge. And Bill Cooper paid the price for that. Way to go, Bill. That's the difference, folks, between the real deal and something that's just a pale imitation. And I thought I would not show a single shot of Alex Jones in this entire video, and I'd only feature Bill Cooper. I think that was a good call. I hope you agree. And that's just a little insight to the kind of stakes and games that are going on. Be careful out there when you're on the internet, because these people with vast resources equal to that which they have deployed in mainstream have been on the internet, and they have corrupted the ground. But once you know the games, once you understand what they're up to, you can get one step ahead of them. And that's exactly why I'm doing this, and I'll do more, which expose the games they're playing to screw our minds up. Okay, that's it for this edition. Going to be back with more sort of general news stuff, and also stuff that we're going to have to cover on Rumble, which will be entirely uncensored. I'll be back with that right away. Look forward to you joining me for that. Thanks for the feedback in the YouTube channel, and also on the Telegram and the WhatsApp, because we've got here, right here, fintondunn.com/WhatsApp, and that just magically then takes you to the WhatsApp page, or fintondunn.com/Telegram, and that takes you to the Telegram chat where we're talking about this stuff right now and helping to wise each other up. Thanks for the great links that some of you have posted already. Welcome to the new people who have joined the WhatsApp and the Telegram chat in the last 24 hours. Welcome aboard. Great to have you on. And I'm going to leave it at that for this edition. I will be back with more very soon on the uncensored content in particular, which I know you're going to want to tune into, and other stuff too. Look forward to you joining me then. But in the meantime, for breakfornews.com, this has been Fintan Dunn reporting. See you soon. Thanks for joining me, folks.